Hey neighbors, Kevin here with eTrailer, and today we're going to be taking a look at the eTrailer XHD Non-Binding Tow Bar and how it can help you flat tow your 2022 GMC Sierra 1500. If you're looking to flat tow your 2022 GMC Sierra 1500, then there's going to be a few components that you're going to need. Now typically when it comes to flat towing, there's going to be 5 main components. The first one being your tow bar, and the second one being your base plate to make that physical connection between your vehicle and then the coach. Along with that, we're also going to have some safety cables, which you can see are bracketed to our tow bar so that it's all nice and held up so it's not dragging down on the ground. Next, we're going to have our diode wiring, or if you want to go with a kind of plug-in magnetic light at the back, just some way so that you can transfer your light signals from the motorhome back to the towed vehicle so that you can remain street legal. Along with that, you will also need to have a supplemental braking system. Now, in most states, you are going to have that required at a certain weight, or just in general, it's going to be required. So you might want to check your local laws. Even if your state doesn't require you to have it, if you're traveling to another one, you can get a ticket if you get pulled over and they find out you don't have one in a state where it is required. Now, along with those 5 main components, there typically is going to be something else you might have to install depending on the vehicle. In our case, with this Sierra today, we had to have the battery disconnected. So instead of every single time you want to flat tow, disconnecting the negative battery cable, we installed a Roadmaster battery disconnect so that way you can just disconnect and reconnect the battery at the push of a button. Along with that, something I recommend for every single flat tow is a charge line kit. And what that's going to do is trickle charge from the motorhome back to the battery on your towed vehicle. We have a few things like our braking system that are going to be connected directly to the battery, so they're going to be draining the battery even though our vehicle isn't on and running. There's nothing else in there that's going to be running. There's still a drain on it just because this braking system is pulling from it and a few other items that we needed to tap into that are all running off that. So in this case, along with our braking system, we also had to install a stoplight switch kit, and that's because GM doesn't have a brake light switch that you can tap into because they use a multiplex wire that's just not big enough for you to really make those connections. So now we have multiple components that are all pulling from the battery. So having that charge line to make sure that your battery isn't going to be dead when you get to your destination is going to be a huge game changer. So if you're in the planning phase of your flat tow setup, then now's the perfect time to start looking at your tow bar and figure out what's going to be the best one for your Sierra. Now with the Sierras being a little bit heavier, since it is a truck, and then also the ability to throw everything in the bed of that truck so that you don't have to fight your way past it when it's in your motorhome and kind of just keep everything a little bit more organized, having the XHD with its 10,500 pound capacity is going to be an essential component here. Along with that, this comes with a lot of added features. So this is going to have the safety cables bracketed to the arms, so that way you don't have to worry about them dragging down on the ground, and you don't ever have to worry about losing them or storing them somewhere else because they're going to stay with the tow bar the entire time. If we look closer over here, there's a rod with a little clip on it, and what this does is allows you, if you have a coiled safety cable, to slide it onto here and then put that pin through. That way you keep your cable up off the ground as well. Now there are some other options out there when it comes to tow bars. Typically if I'm not getting one that has something like that, I'm going to look for one that has a cage over it. Roadmaster has a couple of options with that, like the Falcon or the Nighthawk, and that's really what you're going to want. So that way you don't tear up your cable, because this can get pretty expensive. People typically forget to put either the plug in fully and it falls down on the ground and gets all scratched up. So anything you can do to help limit damaging your cable, which is going to be another essential component because that's how we transfer our lights back to our towed vehicle, is going to make it a whole lot safer and easier for you. Now, another thing that we need to look at is our connection to our base plate. Since we do have a Roadmaster base plate, we need to have a fitting that's going to go with that, and luckily we have different style connection points for each brand of base plate, so that way you can swap out the initial ones that come with the tow bar and switch over to the Roadmaster one, so that way you can connect up to that base plate, with no additional adapters. Now if we look over at the shank side of this, this is going to have a built-in 1.5 inch rise or drop depending on how you do it. So if we flip this over, we'd be in the rise position. Right now we're more of in that drop position just because this is what's going to make us pretty much level. So to figure out how level this needs to be, or if you need to get a rise or drop adapter, what you're going to want to do is measure from the ground up to the top inside edge of your receiver tube on your motorhome. From there, you want to come back to the base plate, and what we're going to look for is the center of our attachment point. So that's going to be right here. So when we measured, we had 18 inches here, and then we had 18 inches over here for our motorhome. So we know we don't need an adapter. We can leave this as is and just have our arms come out and connect to it. Now with these also can raise 3 inches up or down. Now you want to stay within 3 inches, that's the tow bar safety level. So if you're out of that 3 inches, that's where you need to start looking at a tow bar adapter or riser drop adapter, sorry. And especially if you're going to be hauling any kind of bike rack or cargo carrier in the back here, that's where you could start looking into one where it's a dual hitch one, so that way you can haul all of your accessories with one adapter. So just to give you a walkthrough of how this all works, we'll take this apart. So starting out, I'm going to pop off my breakaway switch cable. We can disconnect our wiring. I'm going to pull the pin here so I can pop that off. Now if you really wanted to, you could probably also store it on here, but I'd want some kind of bag or something as well. So if you want, you can pick up a tow bar bag as well, which we have right here. And we throw that over because we don't want to have water getting in here or any kind of debris that could corrode up our connection point, because if this gets corroded, it's not going to function and we're not transferring our light signal over anymore. Along with that, we'll have our connection to our base plate and our safety cables. So with the safety cables, they're going to have a little clip on them along with their S-hook style. And we'll need to pop that down. Pop this side as well. And then at the base plate itself, you're going to have a pin and clip. Pull our pin out. And now if we'd have pulled forward with our motorhome, this would have locked in place. If yours locks and you can't get it to move, what you're going to want to do is press in on this bind release right here, and that'll allow you to retract the arms back. Once we have an arm completely disassembled, we'll then tilt it up because there's a little pin here. Let me get you a little closer. There's a pin right here, and on either side we're going to have a retention spot, so that way it can come over to the side and be mounted up in place. So that way you don't have to worry about this kind of sagging or falling down and then scraping against the ground. So if we lift that up, that's going to push that pin down. We can pull over to that slot, pull it back in place, and now we know this is locked. It's not going to hit anything on the ground or be able to move. And we'll do the same thing with this side as well. And now you can either lock it like this, where it's side to side, or if you wanted to, you could bring this over as well. Have them both on one side, and then slide your tow bar bag over it. So we'll secure everything up. Put my pins on here. And then the tow bar bag's opening is very large, so that way you can easily slide it over everything. And while I'm doing that, I'm also going to make sure my electrical connections are staying up, so that way we don't have to worry about them getting corroded. We'll slide our cover over. Well, I think that does it for our look at the etrailer XHD Non-Binding Tow Bar here, along with our 2022 GMC Sierra 1500. If you still have some questions about which tow bar is going to be the right fit for your Sierra, or what connections you might need to make it to the base plate that you've installed on your Sierra, then feel free to reach out to us via our Ask the Experts link, a comment on this video, or phone call to our customer service department, and we'd be happy to help you out on your journey.